Okay, so you guys know the drill. You take a look at this clip and we will talk about it later. So let's go.
I see TikTok on here all the time that talk about pretty girls and how they're never approached. And it's true. Like I was just out at a bar. Black men were there. None of them talked to my friends and I. All pretty girls, black girls, none. And it's like people say, like finding someone to have sex with you, to take you out to eat, to compliment you is not hard. I can go on these apps clearly and find someone that's ready to have sex with me tonight, right now, without even knowing my last name. Literally does not know if I've just got rid of an STD yesterday, but is definitely willing to have sex with me right now. But finding someone that like is willing to check on me when I say I'm having a bad day, that's too much. And it's just so frustrating because it's like I'm just myself. I don't know what else to do.
Privilege is invisible to those that have it. That's a very true saying. If you believe that your biggest problem is in the social and dating world is that people don't approach you, if that is the big problem and you don't know what to do because people don't approach you, then you don't really have a problem. Let me just put it that way. It's not even that people don't approach you. I mean, you said you can easily get laid if you wanted to. You can easily get guys to buy you dinner. The world is not made up of cherry trees and blossoms. There are thorns, right? People experience this world from the difficult and from the good. The fact that you're only thinking that the world is somehow owes you, an approach, owes you a relationship, owes you somebody to go ahead and spend money on you, you are delusional. It's a delusional way of thinking. Now, this is human nature, but it tends that women tend to do this quite a lot. Why? Because they're in a position where they get such attention, such privileges. The world doesn't owe you apology. The world doesn't owe you good things. Men learn this the hard way when they grow up. You know? And that's one thing I keep telling men. Stop putting yourselves in this kind of situation. Stop doing these things for these women because they develop a sense of entitlement, thinking that that is how the world is supposed to operate. And now the next man that has done nothing to deserve such blatant expectations of sexist mindsets now has to live up to that category as well, because now that's what society demands. You're not meant to be approached just because you are a pretty woman. That is not a criteria for approachment. And by the way, let's also make you understand something. When you are privileged, you don't want people to do the dirty work for you. Now, I don't like to use the word privilege a lot because it's been used to many different bad ways. But to me, when somebody exercises that privilege in a negative way, I have to use that word in a negative way. Where you feel that because you're pretty and you're sitting at the bar, not only you're sitting at the bar, you're sitting with a couple of women. You understand what men go through when they approach a couple of beautiful women? Do you understand that? Of course you don't. I mean, you know it happens, but you don't. You feel indifferent about it because you've always been the one that turned people down, and never the one that had to approach. It's hard on the brother because not only would you use him for ego practice. Now, if you don't know what ego practice is, it's a word that came up for when women emasculate you in front of their friends, right? Or laugh at you or use you to boost their ego, right? So your emasculation is not used to increase the ego of the woman that you approached. Now imagine if you had to go through that, would you think of approaching a man? No, of course not. In fact, the reason why women don't approach men is because they're scared of rejection. But for some reason, women that can't handle rejection want men to approach them. Why? Because they're men. Not only is that sexist, that is ridiculously very low way of thinking, right? Because that imagines that men don't have problem approaching women. It's so blatantly stupid to even imagine things that way. And what I keep telling people is this: never expect somebody to do to you the very thing you're not prepared to do for them. Don't expect somebody to buy you a car if you're not going to be capable, or you're not prepared to buy that same person a car. Never expect someone to build you a house. Never expect someone to take you out on a date. Never expect someone to do all these things for you, because that is entitlement. If you're not prepared to dish out the same mutualism, don't expect special treatment. It's just the way it is. If you want a man to chase you, you should be willing to chase men. You're not getting any younger. Okay? The world doesn't owe you somebody approaching you. In fact, you don't really have a problem, because already he said if you want the sex, you can get sex. That is the best deal most men could even get. Better than what most men can get, right? In fact, some men are so lonely that just to have a woman just to say hi and start talking with them, it's dope, it's nice, they'd be so happy. But you can get sex and you're complaining? Like, well, it's not important to me. One day it will be. One day when you're 60 and lonely, it will be very important to you. The world doesn't function based on fairy tales, based on Prince Charming risking his life to save a woman. Because when men do that, not only do they not get appreciations for it, they get categorized as creeps, idiots, fools, easily manipulated individuals, people that have no class, no value. They get used for target practice when it comes to ego, building women's ego. They get treated really bad. Or they could also get accused of sexual assault or sexual, unwanted sexual approachment, right? Nobody likes rejection. And worse, nobody likes rejection accompanied with emasculation. Nobody likes that. So the idea that you are thinking is a norm, that men are just supposed to approach you regardless of all the stumbling blocks that not only you have set up for yourself by having other friends around, probably having a resting bitch face, okay, probably having this ego of I'm special, I should be approached, and this entitlement, probably not understanding that you have done things like turn men down in brutal ways before. Probably also went ahead with other women to say that you do not want to be approached. There's a lot of women going out there saying men should just stop approaching women. Okay, now men are satisfying and doing what you're asking for. You're mad. You can't have your cake and eat it. These are the realities you're pushing for, the realities you're going to get. And to me, that's better for the guys. It's better for the guys, because guys have unbelievable leverage if they could just all decide to stop bending down to women's wills and trying to approach women. And maybe if men focus on better women that literally appreciated them, that'd be better. So you have to suffer. You have to learn how the real world works, because obviously you have lived too long in a fantasy. This is what I'm going to say about this video, and I will catch you guys later.